Hi friends, it's Square Coinman here, and I'm going to present today one of the most innovative coins ever made. It was designed by Peter Struycken and he had help from Dr. Verbeek. Now, this is the coin. This coin is about 30 years old and has always fascinated me. I've always wanted to know the backstory of the coin. So, what I normally do is when I have a coin I would like to make a video about, I will try to find the person who made the coin. In this case, a very famous Dutch artist, Peter Struycken, and then of course I go to Google and I try to find his email, which I couldn't find. Lucky enough, I did find somebody that probably had his email, so I wrote to them and kindly asked them to forward the email. A short while later, I did some research in the National Archives of the Dutch National Bank, and I found loads and loads and loads of images of the same coin design. Now, they look the same, but they are not the same. There are very small differences. If you look at the hair of the queen here, you can see that there is a depth difference. So while I looked at possibly 50, 60, 70 of these images, I waited to get an answer. And a short while later, I got a nice email back from Peter Struycken, the artist who designed it. And he said, "Dear Mr. van der Heuvel, on the development of the 50 guilder coin with the portraits of the four queens in 1989-1990, there's a lot of expertise that preceded it, and that was the expertise of Dr. Verbeek. He developed an ingenious principle where the shadow areas of the photographs of the four queens could be transferred into angles of the relief of the coin, and he made a computer program that is so essential that I can't say that I developed that coin." So Peter also sent me these pre-studies. So what I did was I would sit down and wrote an email to Dr. Verbeek, because I felt that if Peter says, "But I didn't make it alone," then of course I should get permission of both of them. I sent an email to Dr. Verbeek, and a short while later he wrote back to me. He explained that how it actually is possible to transfer a gray area into a angle. Now, the next day he sent me a link to an abstract of the scientific paper that was written by Dr. Verbeek and another person, B.G.H. Verweer, who had been also very important in developing the algorithm behind this. And the abstract was so interesting that I actually decided to pay for access to the whole article, and I enjoyed reading it for 2 days. Now, I have a scientific background, but it's been a long time since I've been reading these kind of papers, so it took me a while to actually understand most of it. Here is a picture from the actual article, and it shows how the algorithm can change the pictures. We have here Beatrix, Juliana, Emma, and Wilhelmina into gray contours. So at this point, Peter sent me also these pre-studies. And what we can see here is that this is Persplex in Dutch, or acrylic glass in English, where the depth would be cut out by a milling machine in a block of plexiglass. That would then later be put into an old-fashioned pantograph, and the pantograph actually does take a big object and make it into a very small copy of it. Now, we have to remember we are talking 1990. This is probably the most advanced coin of that period. This is how a cell phone would look like in the 1990s, and only very few people would have it. And if you had access to modern communication, then it would be a fax machine. So at that point, I was almost ready to start making my video. But because I believe that it is very important that one respects copyrights of people, I always check all the copyright potential things I have to check. Now, Peter is a member of Pictoright, which is the Dutch copyright organization. And of course, I had to write to them as well. And a few days after that, I got a nice letter back saying that, yes, I had permission to use the pictures used in this video. And therefore, I can show you these pictures. Now, just look at it for a few seconds. I can't show it too long, but just look at it for a few seconds and enjoy the brilliance that is behind this. It is such a fantastic design. It's a lot of science, it's mathematics, and it's also respect for the four queens that had an important role to play in the development of the Netherlands. Now, last but not least, you all know the story. If you like the things I'm doing and if you would like to learn more about coin designs, then subscribe. And I would like to give a very big thank to Peter Struycken and also to Dr. Verbeek for their fantastic help in making this video possible.